Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Game Changer. I'm Mariam Zia. Tonight we will be talking about the developments surrounding Prime Minister Kakar's visit to 54th meeting of World Economic Forum in Davos. Of course, we know that this summit is going to be taking place from 15th to 19th January in Switzerland. And when we talk about World Economic Forum, the theme for this year is rebuilding trust. This is an annual summit that takes place. And when we talk about World Economic Forum, of course, in this summit, the leaders from across the world and as well as international organizations, of course, leadership is also going to be participating in this significant summit. When we talk about World Economic Forum, of course, it was launched in 1971 as a non-profit organization, and the basic purpose is to engage the leadership of the world as well as public and private sector in different happenings surrounding the political as well as economic developments of the world. And in this year's theme is around rebuilding trust. We will be talking about how to rebuild trust regarding the economic policies, considering the economic as well as political instability across the globe. And when we talk about Prime Minister Kakar's visit, of course, he will be talking about an important segment or important session in his keynote address on a trade tax $1 trillion promise. And he will also be holding some crucial meetings, sideline meetings with different leaders of the world as well as of international organizations. We will be talking about the significance of this visit for Pakistan as well as what are our expectations from this important visit. To discuss this and more, we are joined in the studios by Mr. Shehryar Khan, who is commentator international affairs. Welcome to the program. We are also joined by Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, who is expert global affairs. Welcome to the program. And we are joined online by Dr. Wasim Ishaq, who is expert international affairs. Welcome to the program. Dr. Jaspal, let me start with you. Of course, this visit of Prime Minister Kakar to attend the 54th annual meeting of World Economic Forum is significant. How do you think that Pakistan can leverage its participation in World Economic Forum to enhance its economic standing globally?
I think that, Mariam, what you said the theme of this year, building the trust. Now, if our Prime Minister will be there for 5 days, definitely he's focusing on how to build the trust in different domains: political trust, strategic trust, economic trust, and at the same time now I can say it, environmental trust as well. Within this domain, if we can see the buzzword is technology, how to benefit from each other. And as you very rightly pointed out, this forum is a summit come public-private consortiums kind of a thing. And more than 60 countries, head of the states are participating or head of the governments. And within that number of the organizations, and it's a big forum. So if we can start with this, modern economy is very much technologically driven.
Of course.
And definitely Pakistan is a developing state, and we are looking for technological assistance, but at the same time our youth potential is very much enough, and in the IT we are doing well. So naturally, when we build a trust on this country and that our youth will be getting a job in this field, definitely it will make a sense. Second trust is that Pakistan, we have a special council for investment, and that is now meant for attracting the foreign investment. Definitely in such a forum, when you go, you coordinate and cooperate with the other, you attract the business people and giving them this impression that there is a one window opportunity.
Right, and of course the Prime Minister is going to be holding session or meetings in this special of course, and there is going to be a special Pakistan Invest Summit as well.
Exactly.
So that is also significant when we talk about in the broader context of SIFC as well. But Shehryar, when we talk about this year's theme, rebuilding trust. That is very significant. How do you, what do you make of this theme in regards to the current global situation, global economic situation, as well as how do you think Pakistan can rebuild trust in its own economic policies?
So, Mariam, that's a very good question. So, this overall umbrella theme of this World Economic Forum this time around, rebuilding trust, it has been subdivided into three various categories.
Yes.
And the categories in which Prime Minister Kakar will be talking about, those categories are preventing global conflict, then restoring faith in global systems, and thirdly, preventing economic fracture, which is like seen. So these like three themes basically underline the whole geopolitical analysis and the geo-economic conditionalities in the world in which everyone is like operating in. And when it comes to the World Economic Forum, it's a very vibrant platform that is like there for showcasing the potential that every country brings to the international economic system. And
especially collaborate with, of course, private sector as well.
So it's a huge knowledge sharing and basically a networking opportunity in which Pakistan's potential can be showcased to international corporations, to international governments, and a lot of like multilateral institutions that will be there and like interacting with like various different heads of states as well as public and private organizations. So when we look at the main effects that Pakistan is facing, that's like climate change, that's like ending poverty, the role of AI that is like very important in international financial systems as well as the international trade platforms as well. So these are the key themes that Prime Minister Kakar will also be like talking about in this conference.
So Dr. Waseem, when we talk about these thematic events that of course Shehjar also alluded to, one of the key of course theme is surrounding preventing global conflict. How do you think Pakistan is going to be addressing this issue, keeping in mind the current political as well as economic instability across the globe?
Thank you, Mariam. Let me first highlight few just from whatever is the prevailing global environment today. And I think those who have set the theme for the overall economic Davos forum and the sub-theme which Shehryar have just highlighted, I think they are very pertinent and very timely. We are witnessing an era of major power competition. We are also seeing intense rivalry between China and United States. We are also witnessing intense rivalry between Russia and the United States on the issue of Ukraine. And we have seen global hotspots like instability happening in Korean Peninsula, the Taiwan elections, and some heartburnings from either side between China and the United States. We are seeing a war in Gaza and we are also seeing war in Ukraine. So this is the overall global picture. So that's why the first sub-theme which has been highlighted as preventing an era of global conflicts, I think they have rightly pointed out that we are actually witnessing the era of global conflict. So therefore, the forum, which comprises about 300 public figures and 60 heads of states, 1,600 business leaders and about 800 CEOs and 150 global innovators. So what a multidisciplinary forum where people should be sharing knowledge, doing a sort of networking. And that is a unique opportunity for Pakistan to really showcase how Pakistan can help in preventing or how Pakistan can help in mitigating those conflicts which are around the corner everywhere in the Middle East, in the Eastern Europe, in Korean Peninsula, etc., to name a few. So Pakistan has already a huge experience in helping US-China rapprochement back in 70s. Pakistan also helped the United States in rapprochement between Taliban and the United States. Pakistan has been a very effective player for peaceful coexistence within South Asia, and Pakistan has been the biggest contributor for international peace and stability through its contribution in United Nations peace support missions. So therefore, Pakistan is a global player for peace and prosperity. So therefore, this forum affords opportunity to Pakistan and to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, where we can showcase our statecraft and skillful diplomacy. We can help resolving the hotspot issues, and we can also present ourselves as a peacemaker in this region. From the economic perspectives, Pakistan, though we have a struggling economy, but we have witnessed we have taken several steps since last about a year, which has now started giving positive dividends. The Special Investment SIFC, the Facilitation Council, which is one window operation for all the investments in Pakistan. Then the positive response from the Gulf countries for investment in Pakistan, especially Saudi Arabia and UAE, promising 25 billion US dollars investment in Pakistan. And we are also seeing a positive mood from China to kickstart the remaining part of CPEC phase 2, which was already launched a few months ago, to make a more progress on a fast pace so that the accomplishment of the 62 billion US dollar project CPEC should happen in the administration time of 2030. So therefore, a lot is happening, a lot is coming on the way. And this is a unique opportunity for the Prime Minister of Pakistan to make Pakistan's case on all these fronts, which I just highlighted.
Very rightly pointed out that this is a unique opportunity for Pakistan. And talking about this unique opportunity, can you elaborate on some of the initiatives when we talk about that heads of course, international organizations, private organizations, companies are participating in this summit that Pakistan anticipate to collaborate on when we talk about this important summit, and also this sideline event that is Invest Pakistan, that of course Prime Minister Kakar is going to be leading that of course event. What kind of initiatives are you anticipating out of all these engagements?
Look, there will be in the Davos kind of a forum, when the Prime Minister make or when his team make the case for Pakistan, that is there are many opportunities for investment. Of course, it will be expected a positive response, but one cannot, because we start thinking that something happen in black and white tomorrow. No, it will take a time. At least first time in this forum, we are going with this special investment council, facilitation council.
Right.
And if you see that since last summer, many things have happened within the country, and the areas which we identified, there are people are now contemplating to invest. So when we are looking this kind of a thing, definitely it will be a new thing, a very in an organized fashion. We are presenting Pakistan in the international forum or economic forum to attract both public sector as well as the private sector. So this is first thing. Second is, if you see that Pakistan, as earlier was pointed out by our colleague, that trust building. If you see, we want a peace in the region, but on our eastern side as well as on the western side, there is turmoil, which can, and at the same time, further on the west side or on the Middle Eastern side, you will find further turmoil. So in this current situation, strategic environment, everyone is afraid that where the things are going and how it will be going to happen. Definitely Pakistan will be there to participate and communicate with them that how we can support them. For example, today the biggest challenge is the trade which is passing through all the sea lines, communication security at the Red Sea or in these areas. And Pakistan Navy has been participating in those, you can say, coalition forces for maintaining this thing. But earlier it was not a non-factor attacking, but now the Houthis are attacking. So definitely where the other states will be participating, Pakistan will be coming up with the proper solutions with that. So we have it there. So that is the important thing. And then of course there are many other areas.
Right, of course. And this theme is very pertinent when we talk about this trade, of course, that is passing through Red Sea. But let's talk about the report that says that around $9 trillion trade is expected to be within, there is chances of increase in $9 trillion trade within G7 countries. How do you think Pakistan can capitalize on such opportunities, and how significant is this summit for, of course, reaching out or addressing or capturing these opportunities?
Mariam, this question of yours very pertinent, and it also links to Prime Minister's speech as well.
Yes.
And he will also be talking about the trade technologies, $1 trillion potential and the promise that he will be talking about. So this basically points to the role of technology and the economic benefits that Pakistan can reap if it becomes the part of like global value chains in which it can benefit from this $9 trillion worth of trade in G7 countries, and how the developing countries which are like surrounding in Middle East as well as Central Asian republics, how Pakistan can play its part in this like global trade volume, and what benefits Pakistan can get out of it, and how to basically use trade technology or tech that facilitates trade across the globe, how it can incorporate it into Pakistani systems, and Pakistan can be an efficient part of this whole trade volume realization. So in that, the most important or pertinent areas in which Pakistan will be focusing on, it will be reducing the costs of trade. That is like one of the most important things in which this trade technology can be used and to reduce costs. And how can this cost can be reduced? It's by automating all the systems.
Right, but Shreya, at the same time, given these breakthroughs or potential breakthroughs in AI as well, how do you think Pakistan can position itself to, of course, maximize benefits from these technological advancements when we talk about, of course, reducing the cost?
So when it comes to incorporating all of this trade technology, like using AI or like using international platforms which facilitate international trade,
because
in terms
we
of
may need infrastructure for that as well.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
So that is also one of the challenges that Pakistan will be putting in front of the World Economic Forum and asking for support in that. And that biggest challenge is the high cost of implementation of this trade technology that you're like talking about. And how like developed countries which have developed these technologies will be sharing them with the global south or developing countries, so the trade systems internationally can be streamlined. Other than that, another thing that comes out of your point is the risk of cybercrime and cybersecurity.
Yes.
If these trade systems are implemented, what mechanisms are there internationally to prevent cybercrime and to make the user information and data safe from any manipulation? And other than that, the third biggest challenge that comes in is how to basically have international cooperation when it comes to establishing these systems. We have to like see that the systems in the West are very different from the system that China uses, system in the Southeast Asia. So interoperability of these systems, on how all of these systems can internationally be streamlined, that is like one of the challenges that the trade technology or the international AI systems that will be focusing on trade now, how can that be streamlined? So this is the crux of the speech or like the talk that Prime Minister Kakar will be giving on, and Prime Minister Kakar will be
anticipate some collaborations in that regard.
Definitely, and it focuses on SIFC as well. It also like brings into the limelight the CPEC projects as well, and how all of this trade technology can be implemented in that framework.
Of course, but Dr. Ishaq, when we talk about earlier collaborations of Pakistan with World Economic Forum, one of the key sectors that has been a talk of significance between World Economic Forum and Pakistan has been closing the skills gap country accelerator initiative by World Economic Forum. Can you elaborate on how World Economic Forum has been assisting Pakistan or can assist Pakistan in enhancing its skill set under the umbrella of this particular initiative?
Thank you, Mariam. I just highlighted earlier that this is a multi-dimensional forum, and especially we are lucky in this manner that while we are presenting our case, Pakistan today is far more stable and far more progressive than what it used to be just a few years ago. So therefore, we have a very strong case to make. But the problem is that we lack requisite infrastructure and we lack requisite human resource. So we have been struggling on these two accounts, and the Prime Minister's speech this time would be, I think, two-dimensional. One, the showcasing our trade potentials, but I think more than that would be the Pakistan's investment potentials, because we desperately need foreign direct investment in IT, in telecom, in oil and gas sectors, in infrastructure development, as well as in mines and minerals. So when the investment would come into these sectors, certainly we need to have a human resource which is compatible to be subsequently employed into those many fields. But we don't have those. The New Tech University was actually inaugurated on the similar lines that when we would have to give a trained human resource for CPAC projects when Pakistan itself would be independently handling those projects. So the new tech would be actually creating that human resource. But one university can not, I'm sure, create such a human resource for the entire country. So therefore, on the similar model, we need to have a lot of universities in respective, at least to begin with, in every capital, and then later on the entire route of CPAC. So on the similar lines, we need to create a capacity for human resource development in all those envisaged sectors of foreign direct investment. So this is where we have to be a little more specific in identifying those areas and then getting the support from the Davos itself and the countries which are actually participating now. The Prime Minister would also have an opportunity for sideline meetings where the specifics of those issues can be discussed and dilated upon. And I'm sure.
Right. And Dr. Wasim, when we talk about these sideline meetings, how significant are these sideline meetings, and what kind of collaborations, like you mentioned about these universities, do you anticipate some kind of collaboration happening in education sector or technological advancements that we are of course expecting? AI is going to of course take a lot of jobs as well, but what about countries like Pakistan, developing countries, because AI at this point in time is a more threat to maybe developed world or presents more opportunities to the developed world. What about countries like Pakistan, and how can we maximize the opportunities presented by AI and these technological advancements? Specifically, what do you anticipate of these sideline meetings?
In my personal opinion, in short to medium term, AI is not a threat to Pakistan. It is rather an opportunity. Because as we maximize our capacity in terms of use of AI, then we'll be able to multiply our capacity for production. So therefore, there's a positive use of AI as well. But unfortunately, we do not have the specific requisite infrastructure which is sufficient enough to help us in that regard. We have a very good setup in NUS University, in GIK, and maybe a few more universities where we have advanced R&Ds being conducted nowadays even. So if we can replicate the similar model across Pakistan, at least to begin with in the provincial capitals, then we would be able to actually generate a lot of capacity in terms of handling and in terms of research on the relevant AI which is required for Pakistan's production and development. So I'm sure during those sidelines, such agenda items would be on the cards. And when discussed and finalized, because they would be having a discussion with the Chinese representative, with the US representative, with the EU representative, and also certain Gulf countries representatives. So I'm sure it's a good forum and a good opportunity for Pakistan to deliberate on all these issues. And as the end state, I would envisage that if we can attract some sort of foreign direct investment in the areas which I just highlighted in terms of IT, telecom, then minerals and mine, petroleum, oil and gas, etc., I think that will be a huge benefit for Pakistan. And these are those areas for which some sort of infrastructure is already available, some sort of trained human resource is already available. We just need to capitalize and harness those capabilities.
Right, of course, this is very important when we talk about some of the key areas. Of course, global supply chains is an important aspect. How do you think Pakistan can contribute to these global manufacturing landscape when we talk about the current environment? And of course, the theme of this particular summit is rebuilding trust. What are the areas, and how do you think that these countries and these leaders are going to be negotiating the terms when we talk about the supply chains that are being disrupted by the global environment or instability?
I think that if you can, I try to look at with the political lenses. I find it that today the international community need a trust because there is a conflict in the Middle East. There are tensions in the South Asia, in the West Asia. There was a brief Kakar issue. There is a big challenge of the destabilization in the Korean Peninsula. A few days back, there were missile firing and harsh words exchanges. Europe is already in the war. So if you are focusing on all these kind of the things, if there is a trust and stability, then supply chains from the raw material to the finish or finished material towards the raw producing states will maintain. Second area is, again, I can once again repeat what I said earlier, the biggest trade takes place through the sea. And sea lines of the communication are very much spoiled and disturbed. I can just give you, there's absence of the trust. That's why that's why this Maldives state, they asked the Indians to leave there by March, who were watching the archaeological islands or these kind of the things, because they think that the increasing tension between the Indians and the Chinese will be not. So if there will be a trust and economic, for the sake of economic, there will be stability in that, otherwise instability in that context. As it was seeing that today the freight of the shipping industry has multiplied because of the fear and of these Houthis or these conflicts. So without resolving all these conflicts, you cannot ensure the sustainability in the supply chain. Whether, and for that, if there is no sustainability in the supply chain, definitely manufacturers or the end user, that will be a trouble.
So, what do you make of the negotiations that would be taking place during these 5 days?
I think that we all understand in the plenary sessions or when the head of the state or head of the governments are making the presentation, they would be more diplomatic for a diplomatic consumption or some kind of a thing, because in this forum you cannot dictate someone.
Of course.
But what is the advantage of this forum is that these are the sideline meetings. In the sideline meetings, bilateral, multilateral, there the leaders are able to move ahead. If there are two leaders meeting from a different country, definitely in the sideline meeting, they are in a very, or they are not, you can say, monitored by the media, they are independent, they have more flexibility for negotiation and convince or elaborate, convince and share their own concerns with each other. So my understanding is that this forum is more useful if the sideline meetings are taken place and they are used properly. So in this context, we can say that in the next 3-4 days, one can be optimistic that these sideline meetings, as well as their open statements in a different forums, like our Prime Minister is speaking in one of the leading forum as a leading speaker, and then he's participating. So one can be optimistic about the positive outcome.
Right. And when we talk about World Economic Forum, Shahryar, an important report that says about the Global Risks Report 2024, and it of course highlights misinformation and climate as important risks. How do you think Pakistan is going to be addressing these issues, specifically when we talk about the triggers or the extreme conditions caused by weather?
So, Mariam, when it comes to climate change, we have discussed in various programs that Pakistan is one of the 10 most vulnerable countries on the planet when it comes to the devastating effects of climate change. And the whole effects of climate change, when they're compounded by misinformation that's available globally, and even if you look at developed countries, there are a lot of bodies or private entities that basically spread a lot of misinformation or fake news when it comes to the impacts of climate change.
But this this report does not only highlight the misinformation relevant to the climate change, but misinformation regarding the political environment as well, because we know a lot of countries of the globe are going into elections this year. So this global risk report alludes to those concerns as well. How do you think countries like Pakistan are, how much prepared are countries like Pakistan to of course address these issues highlighted in WEF report?
So Mariam, that is a very good point that you've raised. Climate change is an all-encompassing phenomenon. So whenever you have devastating effects of climate change, it could be through floods that Pakistan faced, it could be glacial melting that Pakistan goes through. All of these effects have a lot of alternative effects on various economic indicators of Pakistan. For example, climate change, when there are like severe droughts, can increase food insecurity, and then people have like not a lot of to eat. Then it like also increases migration. So people from one area, because of floods or lack of water, they have to migrate to other areas, and that increases ethnic tensions, and it also like creates a lot of like conflict between provinces.
Migration and
water
other
issues are also like very important.
Food security.
Food security, and this information or like these effects can be used by various entities to spread conflict and to spread disinformation. That has an effect on overall election as well and overall political economy of Pakistan as well. So this is how this is like linked. So when we basically see climate change, we don't only have to see it from a one-dimensional view, but a multi-dimensional view in which climate can be a precursor to a lot of conflicts that would have an effect on your political economy. It would have an effect on your security. It would have an effect on the crop cultivation and the food insecurity that comes in. And water would also play a very important factor in the future politics of not just Pakistan but the region as well. So Pakistan's relation with, for example, your eastern neighbor and your western neighbor and neighbors up north would really be defined by the impacts of climate change as well.
And talking about climate change, how do you see this initiative by private sector that is to tackle air pollution? How will Pakistan collaborate with Clean Air Fund and other companies to enhance or accelerate the clean air solutions?
So, Mariam, again, when it comes to all of these like technologies that are available to move towards sustainability or move towards developing clean air solutions, when it moves towards establishing sustainable practices when it comes to agriculture as well, all of these technologies are now very like heavily focused or based in the global north or the countries that have a monopoly over innovation and like tech-based solutions. So how can Pakistan access those solutions? That is like something that is being discussed in the World Economic Forum, and I'm sure Prime Minister Kakar will also be talking about the access that the global south needs to these technologies, and the phrase that we are using is equitable distribution of these tech-related solutions. These tech-related solutions are in clean air, they are in solar energy, they are, we already discussed international trade platforms as well, and the role that AI would be playing in the advancement of all these technologies. So Pakistan would want, or I would say global south or like developing countries would want equitable access to these technologies as well. And we've also discussed the loss and damages fund as well on how Pakistan will be able to access those funds, and all of these like programs that will focus on
Clean Air Fund
technology,
and other, of course, Pakistan
programs
is going to be collaborating.
And that is the platform where Pakistan can get access to the funds that will link Pakistan to the international value chains and get access to those technologies. And it's not just Pakistan we're talking about. When Prime Minister Kakar makes Pakistan's case, it's not just Pakistan, it's the collective global south that needs to access these technologies as well. So the overall whole framework of the World Economic Forum brings all of these competing interests and various stakeholders on the same table, in which they can start like networking and negotiating on all of these frameworks that have to be developed for equal and equitable access to all of these technologies.
Of course, and talking about these frameworks that needs to be developed, Dr. Ishaq, another important report is Future of Jobs Report 2023 by World Economic Forum. What do you make of this report, and in your opinion, what strategies Pakistan needs to employ to, of course, upskill and enhance the skill set of its own human resource, because it has identified certain gaps in Pakistani skill set. What's your take on all that and how Pakistan can collaborate with these international organizations to, of course, enhance its own skill set when we talk about specifically technology and AI breakthroughs?
Mariam, Pakistan unfortunately had been struggling with a lot of political instability in last 5 years, and that had affected all segments of Pakistani society, and as well as Pakistan's international standing. But now that time is over. Since last about a year or so, we have seen a lot of stability inside Pakistan, and we have seen a lot of people, they are interested in coming and investing in Pakistan. The gap of human resource availability and human resource employment, skilled human resource I'm talking of, has been widening over the period of time, and especially in the last 5 years, unfortunately. But what is the silver lining? That the government of today and all the political parties who are now participating in the upcoming elections in next month, they have made human resource development as their major agenda for election campaign winning. So therefore, it has taken a top priority for all the Pakistani policymakers today that there is no option but to make a human resource development very effectively inside Pakistan. That also warrants the academia and the industry linkages, which has improved a lot in last few years. However, there is a lot of room. But we also have to have international collaborations. One of the major important constituent of CPAC phase 2 and towards the end CPAC phase 3 was actually creation of the required human resource skill base, which can subsequently be actually consumed into those industries. We have been remaining we were very short on this, but hopefully as the next government takes in position in next month, I think these few areas will take a lot of precedence and priority in Pakistan. We definitely need a human resource development, despite the fact that we have more than 70,000 qualified engineers, those who are unemployed.
Right,
we don't have a place.
Skill set is missing, of course, and that is an important concern that was, of course, highlighted in the report. In this particular report that of course mentioned about the gaps that exist at the current skill set of the human resource in Pakistan. But let's talk about the technological developments and of course countries like Pakistan, like developing countries, how can they collaborate with these international organizations as at this of course significant forum to advance in these digital breakthroughs and digital advancements?
Now, we need to have international collaborations with advanced countries, and all their representatives are here in the Davos Economic Forum. For example, we have at a smaller scale collaboration with China. We also have a small scale collaboration with the EU countries. But I think we need to expand that, and multi-dimensional areas of collaboration need to be explored. For instance, once the special economic zones are fully operational, we at present do not have enough human resource development in Pakistan and skilled people who can then go and occupy those. So for that, we are totally dependent upon China for the initial operationalization. So this is the right time that we need to negotiate with the Chinese representative. I think Chinese Premier is attending this Davos forum, and on the sideline meetings, this should be one of the agenda points from the Pakistani side. So similarly, we also need to have similar collaboration with the EU countries, I'm sure with the United States, with the United Kingdom separately. And also we need to have a separate collaboration with the Gulf countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. They also have a good infrastructure and a good resource in that context. So we have to move on in a multi-dimensional fronts. And since time is running out, so therefore we have to expedite the process. But all this is again hampered because we don't have a representative government, which is strong 5 years government coming into Pakistan. So hopefully things would start gearing up after the February 8th elections in Pakistan. And we can see a positive change in the overall construct and outlook of Pakistan towards hunting this skilled human resource.
Right, of course, and to maximize the benefits of these collaborations once the political stability is there in the country. But let's talk about, of course, technological advancements are an important aspect of this forum. But data protection, personal data protection remains an important aspect of it. Do you think Pakistan has the requisite legislation when we talk about maximizing the benefits from these global digital economies?
I think that Pakistan has initiated this process, and in this case we have a certain laws dealing with the cyber technology, and at the same time artificial is a new emerging domain. Definitely you cannot expect it, but there are certain laws already, and still there's room for improving those laws. Because when we look about these new emerging technologies, they are also known as new emerging destabilizing technologies. There are more than 20 plus technologies. Of course, there certain existing laws are applicable on it, but the question is that whether we can use them for the betterment or we can use for the destruction. Both can be. These technologies are a dual use. So more than the laws, there is a need the general code of conduct within the society, how to deal with this technology and how to use or not use it. But of course, there is no treaty at the international level, and there's a need to have such a forum can provide or facilitate for creating these kind of the legislation at the domestic level or at the international level.
Right. And lastly, Dr. Jaspal, what do you anticipate out of this summit specifically for Pakistan, keeping in mind all our economic instability, and what are your expectations that this, of course, rebuilding trust will be aligned with Pakistan's own diplomatic as well as the economic objectives?
I think that this forum provides us an opportunity to, you can say, publicize our good points, especially our understanding how to attract the foreign investment, foreign direct investment, and how to provide a protection to the investors. This is a very important point.
Right.
Second is that there is a lot of negativity, and we can, with the participation in such a forum, gives the impression that, oh, we are stable country. Of course, there is an election in the next month. There will be a change of the government, but that is a process, and in a process, these things reflect the stability. And finally, there's too much saying that Pakistan economy is degrading or fragile, but at the same time, no one is saying that Pakistan's potential is not there.
Right.
So we have opportunity to hammer this point that Pakistan as a youth, Pakistan is a majority, Pakistan IT sector is improving. So by this way, I think there are many opportunities for us.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Mr. Shahyar Khan, for joining us in today's program. Thank you very much, Dr. Wasim Ishaq, for joining us in today's program. Of course, in today's program, our panelists highlighted the significance of Prime Minister Kakar's visit to this 54th meeting of World Economic Forum, and the theme of this year is significant: rebuilding trust. Keeping in mind the global and economic instability that we are witnessing today, and of course the world leaders must come together to address these crises for the global prosperity. That's all from Game Changer tonight. Take care. Allah Hafiz.